Okay, thank you all so much for all of your wonderful association. We all welcome you to our Bhakti Sangha Japa conference call with our session on Caitanya Caritamrita by Her Grace Preethi Vilasini Mataji. Thank you all so much for joining, and thank you Preethi Vilasini Mataji for your association after a very, very long time. So over to you, Mataji. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, Kirtida Sundari Mataji, for the warm introduction, and thanks to all the devotees for the beautiful chanting. Yes, after a long time, but the subject matter is extremely heavy, so not sure if I will do any justice, but I will give it a shot with all your blessings. So I'm sharing the screen and I hope everyone can see it. This is verse, today we are covering from Sri Caitanya Caritamra Antya Lila, verse 43 onwards. That is what we'll be covering today. So let's begin. Jaya Jaya Sri Caitanya, Jaya Nityananda, Jaya Dvaita Chandra, Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Jaya Jaya Sri Caitanya, Jaya Nityananda, Jaya Dvaita Chandra, Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Jaya Jaya Sri Caitanya, Jaya Nityananda, Jaya Dvaita Chandra, Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna, reading from Sri Caitanya Caritamrita Antya Lila, chapter 20, the Sikshashtakam prayers, verse 43 onwards. Eteka Chintite Radhara Nirmala Hridaya Swabhavaka Premar Swabhava Karila Udaya. While Srimati Radharani was thinking in this way, the characteristics of natural love became manifest because of her pure heart. Shya Utkanta Dhainya Praudhi Vinaya Eta Bhava Ekatani Karila Udaya. The ecstatic symptoms of envy, great eagerness, humility, zeal, and supplication all became manifest at once. Eta bhave radharamana asthira hoila sake gana age praudi shloka ye padila. In that mood, the mind of Srimati Radharani was agitated, and therefore she spoke a verse of advanced devotion to her gopi friends. Se bhave prabhu se shloka vucharila, shloka vuchari te drupa apanhaila. Translation. In the same spirit of ecstasy, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu recited that verse. As soon as he did so, he felt like Srimati Radharani. Aslishyava padaratam pinashtumam adarsanat marmahatam karotu va yata tata va vidadatulam pato mat prananatastu sayevana para. Translation. Let Krishna tightly embrace this maidservant who has fallen at his lotus feet, or let him trample me or break my heart by never being visible to me. He is a debauchee after all and can do whatever he likes, but still he alone and no one else is the worshipable Lord of my heart. 38. Ami Krishna Pada Dasi Teno Rasa Sukara Shriya Lingaya Tare Atmasata Kibana Deya Darshan Jarina Morata Numan Tebute no Mora Prananatha. Translation. I am a maidservant at the lotus feet of Krishna. He is the embodiment of transcendental happiness and mellows. If he likes, he can tightly embrace me and make me feel oneness with him. Or by not giving me his audience, he can corrode my mind and body. Nevertheless, it is he who is the Lord of my life. 49. सखियेषु नमोरा मनिरनिश्चय किबानुरागकरि किबधुःखदियमर मोर प्राणेश्वर कृष्णान्यनय. Translation. My dear friend, just hear the decision of my mind. Krishna is the Lord of my life and all conditions, whether he shows me affection or kills me by giving me unhappiness. Chadi anya nari gana mora vasha tanu mana mora saubhagya prakrita kariya tasa bardeya pida amasane kare krida se nari gani dekhana. Translation. Sometimes Krishna gives up the company of other gopis and becomes controlled mind, body by me. Thus, he manifests my good fortune and gives others distress by performing his loving affairs with me. Ki bateno lampata shatadhar drishta sakapata anya nari gana kari sata more dite mana pida mora agi kare krida tabutino mora prananath. Translation. Or, since after all he is very cunning, obstinate, debauchee with a propensity to cheat, he takes to the company of other women. He then indulges in loving affairs with them in front of me to give distress to my mind. Nevertheless, he is still the Lord of my life. 52. Na gani apan dukha sabe vanshi tanra sukha yanra sukha amar tapatraya moreya didiya dukha yanra haila maha sukha se dukha mora sukha varya. Translation. I do not mind my personal distress. I only wish for the happiness of Krishna, for his happiness is the goal of my life. However, if he feels great happiness in giving me distress, that distress is also my best happiness. Purport. Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur says that a devotee does not care about his own happiness and distress. He is simply interested in seeing that Krishna is happy, and for that purpose, he engages in various activities. A pure devotee has no way of seeing happiness except by seeing that Krishna is happy in every respect. If Krishna becomes happy by giving him distress, such a devotee accepts that unhappiness as the greatest of all happiness. Those who are materialistic, however, are very proud of their material wealth and have no spiritual knowledge, like the Prakrita Sahajas. They disregard their own happiness as the aim of life. Some of them aspire to enjoy themselves by sharing the happiness of Krishna. This is the mentality of fruit workers who want to enjoy sense gratification by making a show of service to Krishna. 53. Ye nari re manche Krishna taras rupis satrishna tare na panahaya duki moi tara paya padi lana yana hate dhari krida karana tanre karun suki. If Krishna, attracted by the beauty of some other woman, wants to enjoy with her but is unhappy because he cannot get her, I fall down at her feet, catch her hand, and bring her to Krishna to engage her for his happiness. Kanta Krishna kare rosha, Krishna paya santosha, sukha paya tadana bhartsane. Yata yogya kare mana Krishna tate sukha pana chade mana alpa sadhane. Translation. When a beloved gopi shows symptoms of anger towards Krishna, Krishna is very satisfied. Indeed, he is extremely pleased when chastised by such a gopi. She shows her pride suitably, and Krishna enjoys that attitude. Then she gives up her pride with a little endeavor. 55. Say nari jiya ke ne Krishna marma vyata jane tabu Krishna kare ghatha rosha nija sukhe mane khaja padukata rashira vaja Krishnera matra chahiya santosha. Why does a woman continue to live who knows that Krishna's heart is unhappy, but who still shows her deep anger towards him? She is interested in her own happiness. I condemn such a woman to be struck on the head with a thunderbolt, for we simply want the happiness of Krishna. Purport. A devotee who is satisfied only with his own sense gratification certainly falls down from the service of Krishna. Being attracted by material happiness, he later joins the Prakrit Sahajyas, who are considered to be non-devotees. Okay, I'll do this one too. Ye gopi mora kare, dveshe Krishnir kare santoshe, Krishna yare kare abhilasha, moi thara ghare ana, tare sevon dasi hana, tabe mora sukera ullasa. Translation. If a gopi envious of me satisfies Krishna and Krishna desires her, I shall not hesitate to go to her house and become her maidservant, for then my happiness will really be awakened. Yeah, so we are completing till verse number 56. This is a series that is related to the 8th verse of the Sikshashtakam, the final verse of Sikshashtakam, which is Ashlishyava Padaratam Pinashtumam. Okay, I'll start with the prayers and then we get into the explanation. It's quite an intense verse because it's, of course, the climax of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's feelings. So obviously it's going to be very heavy. I will not be able to do any justice to it, but I just pray to our Guru Vargas and to all the Vaishnavas on the call to bless me so that I can say a few words. And if I make any mistakes, kindly bear with me and correct me. Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Mukam Karoti Vachalam Pangum Langayate Girim Yat Kripatamaham Vande Shri Gurum Deenatarinam Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Presthaya Bhutale Srimate Radhanath Swami Nityanamane Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Presthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Nityanamane Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvisesha Shunyavadi Paschayata Deshatarine Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhya eva cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Hare Krishna. So this section is Sri Caitanya Caritamtra Antya Lila, chapter 20, which is titled the Sikshashtakam prayers from verse 43 onwards till verse number 56. And these set of verses, they cover the 8th verse of Sikshashtakam. And in fact, the verses even after 56 also deals with the same subject matter, but then there is so much more to actually churn out from those verses, so we have reserved it for the next speaker. Okay, so the 8th verse of Sikshashtakam, which is recorded in the 47th verse of this chapter, which we just read some minutes ago, is Aslishya va padaratham pinashtomam adarshanat marmahatam karoto va yata tata va vidadhatu lamphato mat prananathastu sayeva naparaha. Let Krishna tightly embrace this maidservant who's fallen at his lotus feet, or let him trample me, or break my heart by never being visible to me. He's a debauchee after all. He can do whatever he likes, but still he alone and no one else is the worshipable Lord of my heart. So this is what Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is actually telling in the culmination of the Sikshashtakam verses. In the previous Sikshashtakam verse, which was discussed earlier, which is the Yugayitam Nimeshena Chakshusha Pravrashayitam Shunyayitam Jagat Sarvam Govinda Virahena Me. So in this verse, which was discussed in the previous 2 sessions, we were discussing this Yugayitam Nimeshena, That means Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is telling, a fraction of a second is like a year, or even is like a yuga or even more, is like a millennium or even more without Krishna's association. So in that verse, Mahaprabhu, what he was doing is he was tasting the ocean of Radha's Mahabhav. We all know Radha is Mahabhav Swarupini. So she exhibits Mahabhav to the completeness. Complete Mahabhav is the expression of Srimati Radharani. And that Mahabhav which Radharani was experiencing was in the mood of separation from Krishna. So she was feeling a separation from Krishna, and she was telling that a fraction of a second is like a yuga or more, is like a millennium or more for her. But however, in this verse, the very next verse, we see that Mahaprabhu is actually tasting the highest tide of that Mahabhav. So in the previous verse, she was feeling separation. She was expressing the feelings of her Mahabhav. Now in this verse of the Sikshashtakam, what Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is saying is that Radharani is actually in the highest tide of her Mahabhav. And this Vipralamba, which she was feeling earlier, or the separation that she was feeling earlier, in this verse, it resides in union or sambhoga. So those separation is actually central, very, very important to enter into the level of prema or love of God. Love of God cannot be attained without experiencing separation. And that's why the separation of the gopis becomes so important and an integral theme of love of God. So though without separation, prema cannot be attained, its value, the value of separation is appreciated only when there is union. Okay, just like how Bhaktivinoda Thakur, he says, the pleasure felt in union cannot be properly appreciated without the experience of suffering and separation. That is the function of Vipralamba. So what is, if Vipralamba or separation is so important, what is the function of that Vipralamba? What does it have to do? It has to end up in union. It has to end up in union or sambhoga. And at that time, Radharani, she feels a very high tide of Mahabhav, and she goes through several emotions. And those emotions that she is going through at this point in time, when there is a union after a long separation, that is what is expressed in this verse. Let Krishna do anything with me. When he is coming and he's uniting with me, let him do anything with me. Let him be with me, or let him trample me, let him break my heart, or let him just go away, let him become visible, let him do whatever he wants, because after all, he can do what he likes and no one else other than him. However he handles me is worshipable. No one else is worshipable than him, because he is the Lord of my heart. So this is how the emotions of Srimati Radharani are actually culminating. Okay, after she expresses her separation of, there's a fraction of a second feels like a millennium, that Vipralamba feeling she has, ultimately in her union also, what is her expression? This is what she feels. Let him come, let him be with me. Oh, he doesn't want to be with me? Let him go away. Let him do whatever he wants. After all, he is the love of my life. So I'll do anything and he can treat me the way he wants. Because even after embracing Radharani in union, Krishna can disappear at any time and he can break Radharani's heart. But then he breaks her heart and he goes away. But then why does he do that? Again, to embrace her again. So always remember, yes, Vipralamba is extremely important. It's integral. But that Vipralamba's function itself is to beget union, is to end up in union. And that union is actually very relishable, because even in that union, Radharani constantly is under the fear of separation. So these are some very interesting emotions. And this level of Mahabhav is termed as Madanakya Mahabhav by Srila Rupa Goswami. So at this point in time, when she's feeling, already you can see that there is a lot of emotions that she is undergoing, right? Radharani, she feels like, oh, Krishna is here, but then he may be with me, he may not be with me. Let him do whatever he wants. All that I'm concerned is that I'm concerned of his happiness. So there are so many moods, and that is what is actually expressed in verse number 44 that we read today. The ecstatic symptoms of envy, great eagerness, humility, zeal, and supplication all becomes manifest at once. So at a shot, she's having all these emotions while she's expressing this particular verse number, the final verse of Sikshashtakam, Aslishyava Padarata. And she's saying that verse, right? She's going through all these emotions. She's going through envy, eagerness, humility, zeal, supplication, everything, and it's all manifesting together at once. Everything is just fighting with each other and they're all manifesting together. And this is known as Madanakya Mahabhav. And it is the exclusive experience of Srimati Radharani. No one else can actually experience this Madanakya Mahabhav because Radharani is the Mahabhav Swarupini, meaning she is the complete personification of Mahabhav, completion. Mahabhav reaches completion in Srimati Radharani, and when she is experiencing those feelings, she is experiencing Krishna in various ways. So Krishna is like a brilliant blue sapphire because of his color. He's like a sapphire, but then he's also like a Vaidurya, right? Emanating different colors simultaneously. So all these features of Krishna are being simultaneously relished only by Srimati Radharani to the highest extent. And when she is experiencing that, she pronounces this verse. And this final verse of Sikshashtakam is actually, it is a kind of love which even Radharani, when she is reciting this verse, even she is also unfamiliar with this kind of love. She's not able to understand this love properly. Nobody can understand. Krishna cannot understand. Even Radharani, when she's tasting this love, she's kind of unfamiliar with this love. And Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami, he says that this verse was actually spoken by Srimati Radharani once, and the same verse is being repeated by Sri Gauranga Mahaprabhu, and he's repeating the verse of Srimati Radharani as she's undergoing this Mahabhav. So all these verses of Sikshashtakam that Gauranga Mahaprabhu is actually reciting is actually an expression of Srimati Radharani. Whatever Radharani is undergoing, the same thing Sriman Mahaprabhu is actually repeating. And this we have seen through the previous classes as well, as we went through each and every verse. And just like how Srimati Radharani expresses her feelings in front of Vishakha and Lalita, who are her intimate Sakhis, similarly, Sriman Mahaprabhu, along with Swarup Damodar Goswami and Ramananda Rai, in their company, he expresses the Sikshashtakam verses. And we all know Gauranga Mahaprabhu is non-different from Krishna, but he's in the mood of Srimati Radharani. Why has he come? He has come to relish this mood of Srimati Radharani. So therefore, he's relishing every level of her mood. And now here is the culmination. And he's relishing that, and he's pronouncing this verse of Srimati Radharani. And he's explaining it to Swarup Damodar Goswami and Ramananda Rai. Once he pronounces the verse, he also elaborates on this verse because he's explaining it in simple Bengali terms so that everyone can understand what it actually means. Of course, we say everyone can understand, but we can only understand to some extent because Radharani herself and Krishna themselves, they are not able to completely understand the nuances of this Prema Bhakti or Mahabhav that she is particularly experiencing. And when Sriman Mahaprabhu, he begins to explain this verse, Aslishyava Padaratam, he explains it in some Bengali verses. So all those verses we read, like for example, the important expression of that verse in Bengali was text number 48 that we read. Ani Krishna Padadasi. So he's saying, I am the servant of Krishna's lotus feet. So he's identifying himself as Krishna's Dasi. So that is the first identification that he makes. I am the maid servant of the feet of Krishna. And this statement is actually central to Mahaprabhu's entire elaboration of this verse of Sikshashtakam. Actually, in one of the previous verses, which was verse number 5 in Sikshashtakam, it says, Ayi Nanda Tanuja Kinkaram Patitam Va Vishame Bhavambudav Kripaya Tava Pada Pankaja Stita Dhuli Sadrisham Vichintaya. In that 5th verse of Sikshashtakam, Mahaprabhu, what he did was, he said, I want to become the Kinkara. right? That is his desire. He says, Patitam va mishmi bhavam buddhav kripaya tava pada pankaja sita dhuli sadrisham vichintaya ayi nanda tanuja kinkaram. I want to become the servant of Nanda Tanuja. He expresses his feeling, what he wants, what is his desire. He expresses in verse number 5. But now, in this particular verse of Sikshashtakam, he has come to the point where he's identifying himself as Krishna's servant. So he says, Ami Krishna Padadasi. So he has come and he's first expressed his feeling, and then he has culminated to the point of identification that I am indeed Krishna's servant and I'm only his servitor. I'm here to do anything that he wants. And there is also something very important that he's expressing in this verse. He's expressing the mood of humility or dhainya. He's expressing that he's the servant. He has declared that he's the servant of Krishna. And he's also having this very intense mood of humility or dhainya. Now, this dhainya is actually one of the prime characteristics of prema. Without dhainya, without feeling that humility and utter feeling that you're not qualified for anything, truly not qualified, prema cannot arise in the heart. So therefore, dhainya is such an important characteristic of Radha prema. Radha's prema is the topmost, and without dhainya, there is no question of Radha prema. So although Srimati Radharani is the supreme goddess of fortune, she is the supreme, she can even control Krishna, she conceives herself as the maid servant of Krishna, at the lotus feet of Krishna. And there is nothing greater than Srimati Radharani's love in this world. There is nothing greater than that. But still, it is the highest. She is the highest. Her love is the highest. But it is completely devoid of pride. She's just saying that I will be just your servant. Whatever the situation may be, I just want to be your servant. So we see different facets of this verse. She's declaring, I'm your servant. And this declaration is completely devoid of pride. So when Mahaprabhu is repeating Srimati Radharani's verse, Ami Krishna Padadasi, the highlight is humility, okay? Complete humility and declaration, I am the servant. And that is the essential nature of Srimati Radharani's love. And love, she's telling, is all about service without any concern for getting something out of it. So as long as we are having expectations from a relationship, that is not love. So Srimati Radharani has zero expectations. She's like, just do anything with me, right? So zero expectations, complete humility and identification as a service. Now, when she's doing this, when she's having the selfless giving, that is what makes one complete, okay? If you really want to feel complete, you should be completely selfless. When you're completely selfless, you feel complete. So it's quite a contradiction, but that is how love works, or a selfless service works, okay? Until and unless a person is completely selfless, one will not feel completely satisfied, or one will not have the complete whole feeling. And so much so that even Krishna feels incomplete without her. How complete is Radharani feeling when she's selfless and giving that service? Krishna is feeling incomplete without her. So if we want the object of love to feel incomplete without us, then it is possible only when one's love is actually completely selfless and one is feeling wholeness or completeness in the selfless service that one is doing. And that is the reason why Krishna feels incomplete without Radharani. And that is the reason why Krishna was so bewildered. Oh, what is this love like? And he came and he wanted to experience this love of Srimati Radharani in the mood of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And Srimati Radharani, now we talked about the love of Srimati Radharani, the quality of the devotion of Srimati Radharani, the selflessness of Srimati Radharani. But whom is her love focused towards? Her love is focused towards someone who's complete embodiment of all joy and rasa, right? So unless the object of love is a complete embodiment of all joy and rasa, one cannot feel that wholeness or completeness when they are giving that love. So look at the glories of Srimati Radharani and look at the glory of her love, and look at the glory of the person towards whom she's directing that love. So therefore, in this verse, she's saying, Teno rasa sukhi rasi. That means she's telling that I am the servant of Krishna's lotus feet. And who is that Krishna? That Krishna is rasa sukhi rasi. So he is the one who's the complete embodiment of all rasas. Therefore, when I'm giving that love selflessly, I feel the complete whole. I feel complete. So if we are giving love to an object that is not worth, the love, the wholeness that we feel will actually be incomplete, meaning we will not feel complete love actually. Okay. If the object of love is not worth it or not good enough. But Krishna, he is Rasa Sukhi Rasi. Rasa Sukhi Rasi. That is the quality of Krishna. So therefore, Radharani feels complete. So she's able to completely absorb and reciprocate with Krishna, and Krishna is able to absorb and reciprocate with her unlimitedly, and therefore the object of her love is also perfect. But if we try to focus our selfless love towards an imperfect object, then that person who's trying to receive the love is also incapable of reciprocating with our love because they have limited capacity. But Krishna has unlimited capacity to accept and reciprocate. Therefore, Radharani is also feeling complete. So we saw in this one verse, okay, Asli Shiva Padaratam Pinishtu Mama Darshanat, when Mahaprabhu is expressing or explaining this verse, when he's elucidating this verse in simple Bengali terms, he splits it up into different sections. And each of the sections, he's explaining to us what is the quality of Srimati Radharani? What is the quality of that love that is exchanged between Srimati Radharani and Krishna? And what is the quality of Krishna? Everything here is perfect. So this is actually called as love. This is love. And the rest of it that we have in this world is mostly lust. Because first of all, it's not selfless. And definitely the person we are, in this world that we are trying to love is not the complete whole. And we are no Srimati Radharani to have that transcendental dainya or transcendental selfless love. So Mahaprabhu, he then tells that this Srimati Radharani, she's feeling complete happiness even in her separation from Krishna. So she's telling, I'm happy, whatever Krishna may do with me, I'm happy with it, I'm okay with it. So in text number 52, as he's explaining the Sikshashtakam verse in simple Bengali terms, in text number 52, he says, Sabe vanchi thara sukha thandra sukha amar tapatriya. I only desire Krishna's happiness. His happiness is the only aim in my life. So Srimati Radharani, she's just living. What does Radharani live for? She just lives for the happiness of Krishna. She only lives for his pleasure. Whether he accepts her, whether he ignores her, whatever it may be, she just wants to live for Krishna's pleasure. Her attitude is to please Krishna so much that she develops more and more and more different nuances and love, levels of love for him. So Radha is happy only when Krishna is happy. Now one may ask, oh, you're saying Radha is happy only when Krishna is happy, but then Radharani, she exhibits this jealousy, transcendental jealousy, and she gets angry if Krishna goes away to another gopi. So how do you explain that? If she's always selfless and she only wants Krishna's happiness, however he may handle her. We're telling all this, right, in the Sikshashtakam verse. But you all know that Srimati Radharani, she controls Krishna. She controls Krishna and she gets angry if Krishna goes away with some other gopi. So to this question that is there in everyone's heart, Mahaprabhu, he explains the inner secret of Radharani's heart and her outer expression of jealousy or man. What is this man all about? So in verse 52, he says, Kanta Krishne Kare Rosha Krishna Paya Santosha. When a beloved gopi shows symptoms of anger towards Krishna, Krishna is very satisfied. Although Radha sometimes appears very, very jealous externally, she knows that this jealousy is what is bringing pleasure to Krishna. And that is why she's showing the jealousy. Not that I feel jealousy and it is a flaw, it is a characteristic in my heart. No, that is not what Radharani is actually feeling. She's feeling jealousy because that expression of jealousy, external jealousy, is bringing some pleasure to Krishna. Krishna gets very happy and he enjoys these rasas. So therefore, just to give him pleasure, she expresses this apparent displeasure from her heart. So she knows very well what will make Krishna happy, how much jealousy she must express, how much man she must express, and to what level she must express, and when she should withdraw that. When she should withdraw that and make sure that Krishna is always happy. Krishna gets excited to see his beloved, being angry with him or showing jealous anger and, telling, don't come near me. He enjoys all that. He's Rasaraj. He enjoys all these expressions. But Radharani knows very well how much she should show it and when she should withdraw it. She will not go to an extent where Krishna gets fed up of her. No. She's very, 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 she's an expert in all this. Radharani is an expert and she's the guru of love of God, right? So she is an expert in all this and she knows when to accept his loving embrace again. So she knows her ways of expressions of prema towards Krishna. And Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami, he tells that this love that Radharani is expressing from time to time, it appears very crooked, very, very crooked. Sometimes she's angry and then she's yearning for Krishna to come back and then she embraces him. So this kind of love that she expresses is not straightforward. It's very crooked. Like for example, just a comparison, the love that is expressed by Rukmini is very straightforward, very simple love. Okay, I'm submissive and whatever Krishna does, I'm okay with it, and that kind of submissive love, or even for that matter, Chandravali. But whereas Radharani is at a different level, completely different level. She expresses this kind of a jealous love, this man. And man is very, very crooked. It's like how a snake moves in a crooked way. It is not simple and straight. It's a very complicated way. And whenever she develops this man, it can come without any good reason, like without with a good reason, sa hetu it is called, and without any good reason, nirhetu. But still, whether it is with a cause or without a cause, or whether it is just happening by its own accord, Radharani knows exactly what pleases Krishna to the maximum and how this loving emotions can be exchanged between each other and it can culminate to the highest point, to the best level possible. So, and also, she knows how to control Krishna, and Krishna also knows how he should reciprocate with Radharani and how he should pacify her by consoling her or offering gifts or whatever to satisfy that man that she is exhibiting. So when Srimati Radharani asserts herself, okay, to establish her superiority, and later when she relishes Krishna's embrace, we should understand that within her heart, it is not that she has this attitude that she really wants to control Krishna and she wants to exhibit her true pride. Actually, within her heart, externally she's expressing man, inside her heart, she's only a mere maidservant. That is her mood. So therefore, Mahaprabhu, as he's explaining this verse of Shikshashtakam, he says that the happiness is only service, only what is making Krishna's happiness. If Krishna's happiness is union with me, then I will make sure that there is union. If Krishna's happiness is to see me in man, then I will make sure that I will exhibit man. I will, try to show jealous anger and I'll try to control Krishna. If that is what is Krishna's happiness. So either way, whatever it may be, my only concern is Krishna's happiness because I am the servant or the maid servant of Krishna's lotus feet. So Radha's service that she exhibits, for her, service is sweeter than union. Service is sweeter than Vipralamba. Doesn't matter externally how the situation is, whether she's in union or she's in separation or she's angry or she's sad or whatever it is. As long as Krishna is happy, that is what she is looking out for. So therefore Mahaprabhu says that, this happiness is what she's constantly looking out for. That is the mood of Srimati Radharani. So whatever she may do, ultimately she's maintaining this mood of a maid servant and complete selflessness. Now, according to the explanation of this verse, Mahaprabhu was telling that this love, this prema bhakti that is expressed by Srimati Radharani is actually, this prema becomes greater than Krishna, because Krishna is conquered by that prema, this prema that Radharani is exhibiting. So if God himself is conquered by something, that means that love is greater. So he's telling that this prema bhakti that Srimati Radharani is exhibiting is greater than Krishna himself. So much so that Krishna wants to become the student of Srimati Radharani. And Radharani's love is actually Krishna's guru. So if someone asks who is Krishna's guru, it is Radha's prema that is Krishna's guru. And this Madhanakya Mahabhav, or this extent of Mahabhav that she alone tastes, Krishna is yearning to experience that or get a fraction of that taste. And therefore, he tries to come as Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to come and taste this love, to come and taste the love that is expressed by Srimati Radharani. And this love is actually Krishna's own guru. So this is the secret of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And that is why Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is clearly able to express what Srimati Radharani was feeling in her heart. So there's a very nice pastime. Okay, I mean, this is very intense, very hard to explain. I just took some notes and I tried to express what Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is explaining in simple Bengali terms to the verse of Sikshashtakam that we just recited, which is the culmination of the entire Sikshashtakam. But to understand this better, it's easier to relate to it to a story, right? So it's always easier to relate to a story. And I apologize, I know the story was already told, but I'll try to make it as interesting as possible so that you feel like you're hearing it for the first time. But this is the story in Radha Krishna's pastimes, that where Srimati Radharani actually pronounced this verse Ashlishyava Padaratham. So we have to say the story. Okay, so here we go. One day, Srimati Radharani was decorating her kunja with her Ashtasakis. All the Ashtasakis were present in her kunja, or her little grove, where she would meet Krishna from time to time. And all the Ashtasakis headed by Lalita and Vishaka were present there. They were all decorating Radharani's forest grove with various beautiful, beautiful fragrant flowers, like the Malati flower, the Kunja flower, and so many other flowers, Mallika flowers and all that. And there was a nice fragrance that was emanating from Srimati Radharani's grove. And because of this nice fragrance that was coming, lots of bumblebees were attracted to that place. And there were a lot of cuckoos and other birds who were coming and going into this kunja. So they were making beautiful, sweet sounds like coo, coo. And then there were peacocks that were dancing, showing off all their feathers. And the entire atmosphere was very, very pleasant in that place. And there was also a cool breeze blowing. It was the perfect season for Srimati Radharani to meet Krishna, and there was a cool breeze flowing, and everything was perfect there. Now, as there was a cool breeze that was flowing through these groves, the leaves were rustling. When there is a nice breeze and you're in the middle of a nice park, you can hear the leaves rustling. So like this, when Srimati Radharani and the gopis, they heard the leaves rustling like this, they thought that, oh, Krishna has come. They thought it's the footsteps of Krishna. So they thought, oh, my beloved is coming. Krishna is coming. Krishna is coming. And Radharani, she was getting ready. She was waiting. And she was anxious every moment as she was hearing those footsteps. So for her, every split of a second, Nimesha is a split of a second. Okay. Every split of a second was like a yuga for her. Okay. So this is the Vipralamba she was having before Krishna enters. Even before Krishna is entering into that grove and giving her the vision, she was having this intense Vipralamba. So every split second was like a millennium for Srimati Radharani. And she was thinking, oh, Krishna is coming. I can hear the rustling of the leaves. So she was thinking like that. But then it was actually the wind that was blowing these leaves. And it was not Krishna who really came. It was time and still Krishna did not come. So her anxiety intensified to the greatest possible extent. And then the Sakhi saw her anxious state, and immediately a duti or a messenger from Radharani's camp went forward to go and check out what happened to Krishna, where Krishna was. And this duti was actually sent by Vishaka. So Vishaka sent this messenger, and this messenger went on her way in search of Krishna because Krishna did not arrive. And as she went in search of Krishna, she met one gopi by the name Shaibya. Now, this Shaibya gopi, she was a duti of Chandravali's camp. So you must all be knowing that Srimati Radharani and Chandravali are in opposite camps. Okay. And she was, this Shaibya was a duti from Chandravali's camp. And Chandravali's mood is rightist, whereas Srimati Radharani's mood is leftist. Radharani, when we say leftist, means she exhibits pride and she tries to control Krishna. Why? We already saw why. Because Krishna enjoys it. Okay. But whereas Chandravali's mood is rightist, she is very, very submissive. So this Shaibya, who came out of Chandravali's camp, looked at this duti from Srimati Radharani's camp and told her that Krishna is actually in my Sakhi's camp. He is with my Sakhi. She went and told her very proudly. And this duti was so upset, she went to Srimati Radharani's kunja and she reported the news to Vishaka. Vishaka got extremely angry. Her eyes became very, very red. And Lalita was trying to control her anger, but she ran inside and she barged inside the grove of Srimati Radharani. And she reported the matter to Radharani. Radharani, this crooked Krishna, he's actually with Chandravali. So she went and she told this matter. And Radharani was so upset when she heard this. Now, Radharani, we explained, has this leftist mode, right? So what is the difference between the rightist mode and the leftist mode? We also saw that, leftist means a person who can really control Krishna, whereas the rightist mode is more of an expression of submission. But there is also another way of understanding this. As far as Srimati Radharani is concerned, she thinks Krishna is mine. He belongs to me. Okay, that is the mode. Whereas the others, they think that I am Krishna's. So you see that submissive and that sense of he is mine. So this is the clear distinction between the rightist and the leftist modes. Okay. So Srimati Radharani, she feels that Krishna is mine. He belongs to me. And no one else can actually say this. Only Srimati Radharani has the authority to say this. And Krishna belongs only to me. And why? Because only Krishna can give that high level pleasure to Krishna. I mean, Radharani can give that highest pleasure to Krishna. And we already saw the entire philosophical explanation of Man and how it's actually so pleasurable to Krishna. She enchants Krishna. She's called as Madan Mohan Mohini or Govinda Mohini. And she's the crest jewel. She's the Sarvakanta Shiromani. She's the crest jewel of all the gopis. She knows exactly how to please Krishna. So this is Radha. So only Radharani can say Krishna Amara. That means Krishna is mine and Krishna belongs to me. But what does Chandravali say? She's rightist. She says, Ami Tomar. I am yours. So like this is the difference between Radharani and Chandravali. So when she heard from Vishaka that Krishna is with Chandravali, her leftist mood rapidly intensified, so much so that it reached the topmost degree. And she started biting her lips. And then she said, if Krishna comes, don't let that ungrateful person enter into my grove. He's totally unreliable. I can never trust him. So like this, Radharani spoke externally. But when she is speaking externally like this, what does she mean? Internally, we already saw. Externally, she exhibits man, but internally, her only desire is Krishna's happiness and selfless service. So internally, she's always thinking only of Krishna. But externally, she said, don't come to my grove. Don't even enter here. Don't let that cheater come this side. So she rejected Krishna. And that is the heart of Srimati Radharani. The heart of Srimati Radharani is like Prema Darpan, meaning a love mirror. And what does this mirror show? It shows only pure love. And this is how Srimati Radharani expressed her anger to Vishaka. So as soon as she said that to Vishaka, Lalita and all of them, they went to the entrance of the grove, and then they decided to guard that place and never let Krishna inside. Meanwhile, Krishna, after he had some good time with, in the other groves, he came running breathlessly to meet Srimati Radharani. And as he came to the entrance of Srimati Radharani's kunja, the doorkeepers, Vishaka and Lalita, they stopped him and they said, "We just cannot trust you. You have been here, you've been there. And our Prana Sakhi, she's been waiting for you from morning. She's decorated this kunja so nicely. Where were you and why are you coming so late?" Now, Krishna, when he was arriving there at the kunja, he was in a very humble mood, obviously, because it's time for him to petition and time for him to beg. So he was in a very humble mood, and in a very mild way, he started begging with folded hands. So he was telling, "Please excuse me. I know I'm a great offender. I'm very, very bad. But then please tell your Sakhi that I want to be excused. I'm begging for an excuse. So please ask her to somehow excuse me, and I want to meet her." But then Vishaka was very strict, and she did not want to let Krishna enter. So meanwhile, Lalita went inside and reported the matter to Radharani, saying, "Krishna has finally come and he's begging us that we should let him in, but we didn't leave him in." Now, at this point, Radharani, she had gone through a lot. She had gone through this intense feeling of separation. And even when the leaves were rustling, she was thinking, "Oh, Krishna's coming, Krishna's coming." Every second for her was like a millennium. And Krishna did not appear. And now finally he has come, right? Finally he has come. So when she heard this message from Lalita, she was shedding tears. She was so upset. She was so angry externally. Still, she was feeling the dainya or humility inside. So she was shedding so much tears. She was putting her head down, so much so that the whole ground around her was wet. It had turned into wet mud. And seeing Lalita, Radharani asked, "Oh, has my Pranavallabh come finally? Has the Lord of my heart, Krishna, arrived?" She looked at her and she asked, and in the next moment, out of her complete sulkiness that she was feeling, she said, "Why should Krishna come to me? I am so ill-fated. There are so many beautiful ladies in this world to give him all the happiness. So let it be that way. Let him accept all that worship and be happy. I don't know why a humble woman like me can give anything at all to him. I try to give my life and soul to him, and I love him with all my heart. And I don't even know why. Now I'm burning in a blazing fire of separation. Let me be burned into ashes and let him be happy." So this is the dainya that she expresses. Radharani, externally, she seems very angry, but internally, her mood is Ami Krishna Padadasi. I am the servant of Krishna. Actually, Radharani had become like a mad woman. And when Lalita saw her condition, she was just unable to say anything. And she went back to speak to Krishna. And she told Krishna, "Look at her condition. This is what she's undergoing." And then Krishna said, "Dear Lalita, I know I'm a very great offender. And I know your Sakhi, Srimati Radharani, has developed this deep sulkiness mood. And I realize that. But even if you allow me inside the kunja, as soon as your Sakhi sees my beautiful Shyam Sundar form, immediately all the sulkiness in her heart will vanish." But then Vishaka was very, very upset with the whole thing. And she said, "You're such a cheater. You're such a cheater. And do you think just seeing your beautiful Shyam Sundar form, my Pranasati will just forget everything and become your servant? It is just not possible. So just get out of here." And Vishaka can sometimes be very cutting. So she just asked Krishna to get lost, and Krishna had to leave. So Krishna, he became very disappointed and he didn't know what to do. So he left and he went to the banks of the river Yamuna and he removed all his nice garments that he was decorated in. And he really wanted to be with Srimati Radharani, and he was so upset and he became very sad and he was rolling on the sand and he was crying. So this was Krishna, who was completely dejected. He was very morose, very, very sad. And he kept screaming, these words were coming out from his mouth, "Oh Radhe, oh Radhe, please fulfill all my desires, fulfill my desire of seeing you." Now, although Krishna is completely self-satisfied, he desires to be with Srimati Radharani. Why? Because her love is so selfless and it is directed towards the supreme whole. And because her love is so selfless, she is feeling so complete that she's making him feel incomplete. So now Krishna was rolling on the sand and he was crying out. Though he is Atmaram, he wanted to be with Srimati Radharani. He was feeling completely empty. So seeing his condition, now see, the Sakhis are not going to budge, right? Nobody is going to budge. Nobody is going to let Krishna inside the camp. But then always there is Yoga Maya coming to Krishna's rescue. So Purnamasi is the Yoga Maya in Vrindavan Dham, and she takes care of all the Leelas in Rajabhumi. So therefore, Purnamasi, she comes to the rescue and she comes and looks at Krishna and she sees Krishna is in a terrible condition. So she goes and asks Krishna, "My dear boy, what has happened to you? Why are you rolling on the sand and crying like this?" And then Krishna revealed everything to Purnamasi, saying that Radharani has rejected me. She's not letting me inside. I want to meet Radharani. I don't know what to do. So then Purnamasi called out to Vrinda Devi, who's the assistant and who makes all the, who arranges for the Leelas of Radha and Krishna. And Purnamasi suggested to Vrinda Devi that she makes proper arrangements for the union of Krishna and Srimati Radharani. So Vrinda Devi, she appeared in front of Krishna and she introduced herself. She said, "I'm Vrinda Devi and I've come under the direction of Purnamasi." And Purnamasi told me everything that has happened. And I know that you're very morose because Srimati Radharani is refusing to see you and you're not able to actually solve the problem. But I have one idea. And if you follow my instructions very carefully, then you can see Srimati Radharani and lift her off this sulkiness that she's feeling. So Vrinda said, "Okay, this is my idea. If you have to listen to me." So Krishna says, "Okay, I will listen to you. Tell me what the idea is. As long as I can help the situation, I'm ready to do anything." So then Vrinda Devi told Krishna that, "Krishna, you have to completely give up this gopavesh that you're wearing. You're dressed like a perfect cowherd boy with nice, beautiful silken garments, peacock feather, nice black curling hair, and nice forest garlands. You're decorated so well. So completely give up this gopavesh. You have nice black curling hair. You need to shave it off. That's the first thing you do. You have to give up your peacock feather. No more peacock feather for you. And you're always standing in this Tribhanga form with your flute to the mouth. No more Tribhanga form for you that is bent in 3 places. And even this blackish form, I don't even want this. You have to give up everything. Give up your garment and put up saffron garments like a sannyasi. Become a beggar, become a bhikshu. No more enchanting flute. Instead, I will give you an instrument that is called Kanjani. Kanjani is it's like a drum with jingles in it. So she says that no more Murali, Mohan Murali, we don't want that. We don't want Mohan Krishna. We want a beggar Krishna. So become a beggar, shave off your head, wear saffron clothes, take this instrument, and then I will teach you a very good song. Go and sing that song in front of Srimati Radharani. And if you do that, then there is some hope that Srimati Radharani will open her kunja and meet with you. So as soon as Vrinda Devi spoke these words, Krishna immediately took on that form as suggested by Vrinda Devi. So he shaved his head and he wore a saffron color garment and he took up complete sannyas vesh and he appeared immediately in front of the Radharani's grove in a bhikshu vesha. And he began to sing the song that was taught by Srimati Vrinda Devi. Vrinda Devi, she taught him a very nice song, which is in glorification of Srimati Radharani. So Krishna, he went to the entrance of the grove and he began singing that song. The translation of the song is what I'm going to say. It says, "Oh Srimati Radhe, you have developed a sulky mood, Abhiman, very sulky. Vamya Bhava Shiromani, you are the crest jewel of that leftist mood. Your whole body is covered with a blue sari, and your bodily hue is that of molten gold, Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi. Until now, you were mad after Kanu Prem, Krishna's love. O Gandharvi Ke Radharani, In every respect, you have the embodied embankment of separation, and you have stolen the heart of the mind of Kanu. Today, Kanu has become a beggar, moving from doorstep to doorstep, begging Radha Prem, Radha Prem, Radha Prem. So like this, he began singing the song. I mean, we saw the translation of the song, but he was singing it in a nice song fashion at the entrance of the Kunja. And Lalita and Vishaka, they saw this very beautiful sannyasi, young sannyasi. That is the picture that you see in the poster. You see a picture of a sannyasi who is actually approaching Srimati Radharani. So he goes to the gate, and then Lalita and Vishaka, they are very impressed with the sannyasi, and the sannyasi is also singing a beautiful song. So they start inquiring from the sannyasi, so my dear sannyasi, who are you and where did you learn such a nice song? So the sannyasi said, I am a simple bhikshu, and I am looking out for prema bhikshu. I'm prema bhikshu. I'm looking out for love. What kind of love? Transcendental love. Okay. So I'm looking for prema bhikshu, and the person who taught me the song is my guru. Her name is Gandharvika. He says that. And Vishaka asks, so what's your business? Why have you come here and what do you want? And this sannyasi, he said, look, I'm a sannyasi. I don't want anything from this material world, but I'm a prema bhikhari, meaning I'm looking out for prema. And I know that your Sakhi is alone can actually give this prema. She teaches prema to the whole world. So I want to meet with her. But then Vishaka said, I understand you're a prema bhikhari and you've come here because you've heard about the glories of my Sakhi, that she can alone bestow this love. But then my Sakhi is very distressed. She's inside and she's in a dying condition. Her fate is very bad. You see, you're a sannyasi. Are you well learned in astrology? Can you look at the fate of my Prana Sakhi if she will be able to meet her loved one? Do you think you can do it? Look at her fate and then make predictions for her? So the sannyasi said, yes, I can do that. I'm a very good astrologer. I can definitely do that. Look at her and predict what is her future. But then Vishaka asked, so how did you learn that? You're a sannyasi, I understand. But then how did you learn astrology? And Krishna said in the form of a sannyas that my guru, the same guru who taught me the song, that Gandharvika, she taught me all these things, so I can do it. So Vishaka said, okay, sannyasi, you can come inside the kunja and calculate the fortune of my Prana Sakhi. And then you can get her blessings and you will develop that transcendental love that you're looking out for. So finally, the sannyasi, he says, okay. And because he says, I'm a sannyasi and I'm very greedy to attain this prema dhan. So therefore, I will come inside your grove and look at your Sakhi and predict her fortune. So Lalita and Vishaka, they guided the sannyasi inside the inner chamber of this grove where Radharani was lying. And they went and told Srimati Radharani that a sannyasi has come to see you. And the Krishna entered in the vesh of a sannyasi. And then Vishaka told, why don't you sing the song that you were singing at the entrance? So he said, yeah, it's my favorite song. And he started singing. Today, Kanu has become a beggar, moving from doorstep to doorstep, begging for Radharani's love. So he began singing the whole song. And as he was singing the song in front of Radharani in great emotion, when the last few words of the song entered Srimati Radharani's ear, that is when she pronounced this verse of the Sikshashtakam. She just burst out. She was crying and sobbing and she burst out, and in a crying mood, this verse came out from her heart. Aslishyava padaratam pinashtumam adarshanat marmahatam karotuva yata tatava vidadhatu lampato mat prananatastu sayevana paraha. Let that debauchee do whatever he likes. He may embrace me or kick me. He may burn me with blazing fire of separation, not giving me darshan. Let him do whatever he wants. He's a debauchee after all. But still, he will always be my prananath, the Lord of my heart, and not anyone else. So this verse that was pronounced at this moment is in fact the last verse of Sikshashtakam, which Mahaprabhu actually took out from the core of Srimati Radharani's heart. Okay, so that's the connection. Now, Radha, when she started, crying out this verse, at that time Lalita consoled her and she said, please be pacified. And the sannyasi has come. He knows everything. He can predict your future. He's Sarvagnya. He can tell you what your future holds, whether you'll really meet Krishna or not. Then Lalita, she asked the sannyasi to sit down and have a look at Srimati Radharani's hands. But then Krishna, he said, I'm a sannyasi, okay? Don't expect me to touch a woman's hand and then read her fortune. I'm a sannyasi and I cannot be touched. My dharma will be broken. So I will not touch any woman. Then the Sakhis asked, Lalita and Vishaka asked, how is it that you're going to calculate the fortune if you cannot see her hand? Krishna said that I can calculate her fortune if I can see the lines on her forehead. Because at this point, Radharani's face was covered with a veil. And as a chaste woman, she would not see any other male other than Krishna. But here comes the sannyasi, and obviously she didn't want to reveal her face, so her face was covered with a veil. But then this was Krishna's plan. Krishna wanted her to unveil her face. So Krishna said, I'm very, very strict. I'm a strict sannyasi. I cannot touch anyone. What is the problem with her taking off her veil? After all, I'm a sannyasi. I don't need anything of this material world. I have just come to learn the science of transcendental love. So where is the question of her not showing her face to me? I'm not an ordinary male of this world, he says. No, ordinary men of this world, they are captivated by the beauty of a woman. But what about me? I'm an extraordinary man. I'm a very strict bhikshu. I'm a sannyasi. So I am not going to, in any way trouble her by seeing her face, but I have to see the lines on her forehead so that I can read her fate. So then finally, Lalita, she was convinced and she removed the veil from Srimati Radharani's face. And as Radharani's face was revealed to Krishna, and Krishna's eyes and Srimati Radharani's eyes met face to face, eye to eye, at that time, immediately Krishna couldn't hold on to his sannyas vesh and he exhibited his Tribhanga form. So immediately Krishna's flute came out from nowhere, his hair grew from nowhere, and he was wearing this beautiful yellow dhoti, and he took the Tribhanga form and he expressed his original form, because Krishna cannot conceal anything in front of Radharani, right? So immediately his form appeared, and when Radharani saw Krishna face to face, eye to eye, all her sulkiness just disappeared. And Vishaka was completely blown away. She was just amazed by this whole thing, and she was asking, oh my God, what is this? So this is exactly what happens when Ramananda Rai actually meets Chaitanya Mahaprabhu during his South India travels. Ramananda Rai is non-different from Vishaka. Non-different from Vishaka. So therefore, when Mahaprabhu showed that he was Krishna, when Mahaprabhu exhibited his Krishna form from that sannyas vesh of Mahaprabhu, when he exhibited the Krishna form, the same Ramananda Rai, the same Vishaka, who's Ramananda Rai now, said, oh, at first I saw your appearance like a sannyasi, but now I'm seeing your Shyam Sundar form. This is a verse in Caitanya Caritamrita, the expression that Ramananda Rai had the minute he saw Chaitanya Mahaprabhu transforming into Krishna. Okay. Yeah. So like this, Srimati Radharani and Krishna, they finally had a meeting, and Radharani's love was completely expressed towards the end after a lot of Vipralamba. The Sambhoga actually happened. Okay. So now Krishna, he told Srimati Radharani, actually you're Krishna Haladini. You are the Shakti of Krishna. And all your Leelas, whatever you do is actually meant for my pleasure. Similarly, you want to only please me. Similarly, I also don't want to please any other woman other than you. Sometimes I go to Chandravali's grove just to heighten your Vamya Bhav, just to make sure that you express this Vamya Bhav to the highest intensity, so that your leftist mood is heightened. I from time to time go to other gopis to see them. Not that I'm connected to the other gopis the way I'm connected to you. So this highest mood was expressed by you today, and I could not find any other means to break your sulkiness. Therefore, I took up the sannyas vesh of coming as a prema bhikari. So like this, Krishna explained the whole situation, why he had come as a sannyasi, and then there was a sweet union. Now, previously, when Radharani was crying and Krishna had come to the entrance of the grove, at that time, Vishaka actually, she pronounced a curse. She said, one day you will also have to cry like her, you know, like how she's crying. So that's why we see that Sri Mahaprabhu, even now, I mean, like he's constantly crying in separation from Krishna, taking on the mood of Srimati Radharani. He also pronounces the same verses as Srimati Radharani in separation. So these are some correlations that are made between Mahaprabhu and Radharani. The pastime is actually very similar. Krishna, he has this beautiful threefold form, but then he takes the mood of a sannyasi. He comes in the dress of a sannyasi, and then he transforms into Krishna, right? So similarly, here you have Krishna himself, who's actually come in the mood of Radharani as a sannyasi, as Sri Mahaprabhu. So like this, Krishna, he has actually mentioned in the Bhagavatam also that the gopis are so great that he is unable to pay their debt, right? This is one of the verses of the Srimad Bhagavatam. Oh gopis, I am unable to pay your debt for your spotless service, even within a lifetime of Brahma. Your connection with me is beyond reproach. You have worshipped me, cutting off all domestic ties, which are so difficult to break. Therefore, please let down your own glorious deeds be your compensation. So Krishna is unable to repay this debt. Gopis have so much love. They have broken all the rules and regulations to express their love for Krishna. So Krishna has become indebted, and just to repay that debt, he has come back in the form of a sannyasi as Sri Mahaprabhu. And this time when he comes as Mahaprabhu, he doesn't have this threefold bending form. He doesn't have the flute. He doesn't have curling hair. His head is all shaven, and he's coming and trying to repay that debt. And as he's repaying this debt, he's taking on the mood of Srimati Radharani and repeating all the verses that she had as he's experiencing this Mahabhav of Srimati Radharani. And as this pastime actually completed between Krishna and Srimati Radharani, and there was a union between Krishna and Radharani, immediately Purnamasi, she ordered Vrinda Devi to engage all the manjaris in further decorating the kunja, where Radha and Krishna would be seated on a swing, and the swing pastime would continue. So like this, our mood is also the manjari mood, where we are expected to be the servant of the servant of the servant of the gopis, following in their footsteps and actually facilitate the pastimes between Radha and Krishna. So like this, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's Sikshashtakam is actually taking on the mood of Srimati Radharani and chanting these wonderful 8 verses that actually depict how love of Godhead is attained, how it culminates. So the different levels of love of God is discussed through these verses of Sikshashtakam. Okay. So we'll stop here, and if you have any questions, please go ahead, and if there are any corrections, please feel free to correct. Hare Krishna.
Jai, Hare Krishna, Preethi Vilasini Mataji. Thank you so much for, first of all, philosophically explaining this tattva of Vipralambha, and so beautifully you brought it up. Though it's very hard to understand, trust me, because as you rightly said, that it's so hard to understand the Radha Bhav, to understand the mood of Srimati Radharani, and also, you know, substantiating that tattva with such a beautiful pastime. So thank you, Mataji, thank you. And I know it was not easy, it was such a deep subject matter, but I do say that you really did justice to it. So thank you, Mataji. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna.
Mataji, I'm very grateful for all the inputs and the story also. I took a lot of help. Thank you so much. It was, yes, as you said, it was extremely hard, but thank you. With the help of people like you, I could do something. Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Krishna Preethi Vilasini Mataji. Thank you so much for beautiful class. A nice story, Mataji. Thank you.
I want to say,
Yes.
because he was saying that now I'm doing like
Huh?
You are saying Krishna was going in a
Krishna was going where?
It was going to Radha, right?
And then
Thank you, Vrinda. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for your valuable additions and inputs. Very, very nice.
Very pleasant going on. Hear the class, I want to say something. Thank you, Mata. Thank you so much for
Thank you. Thank you, Vinita Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Preethi, vilasini Mataji. This is Amrita Gaurangi. Thank you for the beautiful lecture. I have no questions, but I thoroughly enjoyed everything that you mentioned, Mataji. Really, really beautiful description. Thank you.
Thank you, Mataji. So nice to have you on the call. We are very blessed. Thank you, Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Preethi Vilasini Mataji. Oh, the way you narrated the pastime, it was so beautiful, Mataji. Thank you so much. And of course, the philosophy also you explained very clearly. You explained why Radharani is, why they have the two sections, leftist and rightist, and what is the difference. I never understood that, but thank you so much for explaining that too, Mataji. Very wonderful class, Mataji. Just wanted to thank you. I don't have any questions at this point.
Thank you, Indu. Thank you for everything. Thank you.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Danvat Pranam.
Sita Preethi.
Such a beautiful class, Mataji. It's like with the expressions which you had, and that beautiful expression of how Krishna has this flute. I tried to take a photo of it every time. Always I missed it. But then at some point I thought, those Bharatnatyam dance, those who do, how they have that perfect expression, like how you had that like fear, and that how Krishna was so happy, and all that expressions you had such beautifully with the narration. It was so good, so good. Wonderful, Mataji. Thank you so much for such a beautiful class. We were eagerly waiting for your class.
Thank you for all.
So nice to see you.
Thank you, Sita Preethi Mataji. Thank you for all the support. Thank
Haribol.
you.
yeah,
Wonderful, wonderful class, Mataji. Thank you so much. It was so transcendental. I cannot say that I completely understood it because it's
Yes.
something, it is something that we have never experienced. But it was amazing that, and even your attempt itself is like a reward. It's a reward in itself that you attempted it and you gave it to us. So I'm very thankful to you, Mataji. Danvat Pranam, Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Parima Mataji. Thank you so much. You never miss a single session. So we are very, very grateful to you, Mataji. Thank you so much.
हरे कृष्ण जी प्रीति विलासिनी माता जी कोटि कोटि दंडवत प्रणाम शिल प्रभुपाद शिल गुरुदेव श्री राधा गोपीनाथ की जय श्रीमती श्री राधा रानी की जय so nicely explained the Leela माता जी we are not qualified but to enter in Dham and that Vishakachaki is not allowed to Lord Krishna and Srimati Sisi Vrunda Devi will after requesting Srimati Sisi Vrunda Devi, Lord Krishna is that Mataji, you explained so nicely that उनके सब गहने और सब निकाल देते और ऐसे आड़ोते तभी Mataji, I forgot that name Mataji,
Chandravali.
not Chandravali Mataji, that Purnamasi. Purnamasi request Srimati Sisi Tulsi Maharani and all the Leelas Mataji, Hari Hari Gauranga. After a long time we get your association and sweet smile Mataji. Hari Hari Gauranga Koti Koti Dandavat Pranam.
Thank you for Mataji. You beautify everyone's classes with your compliments. Thank you so much. Okay, so anyone else has any questions or any realizations to add?
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hari
Thank you.
Bol.
Beautiful class. Actually, I missed a little bit in the beginning, but when I joined, the pastime was going on. I heard the story. I always love to hear stories from you. I can actually visualize everything when you're narrating the pastimes. That is the best part of your classes. And I will definitely hear the recording. Thank you for your class, Mataji.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Okay, so we can end then. Oh, it's 9:20. Okay. We'll end then. Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhyevacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Ananta koti Vaishnavrinda ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Sri Caitanya Caritamrita ki jai, Shikshashtakam verses ki jai, Mahaprabhu ki jai. Hare Krishna.